Okay, here we go. We're going to finish talking about the scorekeeper. Here's the story. It's 4 discs, and what's pretty cool about them is that they're right on top of each other, and they used this method to make sure that they positioned them right on top of each other. And what happens is when you click on them, and I will show you with Alice, they actually fade out and fade back in, and you score points. And I believe you add 1 point for the red, 2 points for the blue. We'll have to see. I think it's 5 points for the yellow and 10 points for the black. And it looks like it'd be really easy. It's sort of easy. But what's pretty cool is, and this is the fading in and out part, and you'll see these are nested if statements. I screwed it up a little bit in class. I forgot the else part. So the idea is if where your mouse is, so this is you have set up parameters for clicking the mouse. If the mouse is on the red disk, then it's going to go out, go away, fade away, and then come back in. Else, meaning otherwise, if you didn't click on the red disk, but instead you clicked on the blue disk will fade in and out. Otherwise, if you did not click on the red or the blue disk, but you clicked on the yellow disk fades in and out. And this last else is if you did not click on the red or the blue or the yellow, but you did click on the black, then it will fade in and out. And what that means is if you click on anything that's not a disk, nothing will happen. Right? So we'll try it out. Meanwhile, here's our score, and we talked about this last time. And the idea, here we go. If the object click on is the red disk, the outer one, then you're going to add 1. Otherwise, if it's blue, you add 2. Otherwise, if it's yellow, you add 5. Otherwise, if it's black, add 10. And if it's none of those, nothing. Now, display score is important. You think to yourself, well, it's already being displayed, but what you have to do, and we talked about this in the last video, is you have to add 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 to the number and then turn the number back into text. And I'm going to show you how to do those. Okay, so I've already, if you haven't watched the last presentation, watch it again. That doesn't make any sense. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Otherwise, let's keep going. Okay, and we talked in the last one about setting that up. Okay. Increment means to increase. Okay, so what we're going to do I'm developing the storyboard a little bit more. If you want to increase by 1 or increase by 2 or increase by 5 or increase by 10, then what you do is you set the increment to whatever number you want to increase by. By the way, if you wanted to decrease the score, you would use decrement. And I'll show you both of those in Alice in a second. Okay, so under the scoreboard, and the scoreboard is a text model, you should find the increment procedure, and you would drag it in here, and you'd pick what number you want it to go up by. That's really kind of handy. So the score is letting you change the number, all right? And then this is a method that is going to update the score. And what that means is you are turning it into text, right? So the score is a number. You use score update to turn it into text, and it's text that is displayed. All right, here's the completed procedure. This is what it looks like. If you want to spend some time looking at it, you can pause right now. This helps you figure out, especially the mouse location. That's really the parameter we've been using here. This helps you figure out where the mouse is. That's pretty cool. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this, but I'm going to go to the Alice program to show you what it's all about. Okay, so these are loaded on Haiku underneath the exam project, and I just want to run it and show you how that works. So if I click on the red, you can see the red disappears and shows up again. The score changed by 1. If I go to the black, it's by 10. By yellow, it's by 5. By blue, it's 2. Okay, so while this is not the most exciting game, it's kind of fun to play. But while it's not the most exciting game, it's really a great place to look at the code to figure this all out. Okay, so this shows you pretty much what you saw in the PowerPoint. Okay, this tells you the mouse location. It's a parameter right here, and if it is equal to the red disk, we talked about that in class. Then what you're going to do is increment by 1, and you're going to update the score. Let's take a look at update score as to what that looks like. So update score is saying we are going to set the score, and it's right here. You see this? That's a procedure. It's actually an editable procedure. Let's see if we can open that up. Okay, sorry, flaking out for a second. This comes with, all of this comes with text model, which is pretty darn cool. So set score, what you're doing is you're changing the score, right, which is a number, and you're adding the increment, whatever that increment is, and then set value, you're changing it into text. So play around with this on, what I would do is download what's on Haiku and just play with it and see what happens. Okay. Where did I want to go back next to? You'll notice that this is all underneath initialize event listeners. It's right in the beginning. So what that means is right as the game opens, this goes into play. So there's really nothing in my first method, which is kind of interesting. Okay. So here's pretty much word for word everything that you saw over there. And so this is an event listener. This is because the idea behind an event, and it's kind of creepy, but Alice is always listening for an event. It's always waiting for you to click on something or type a key if that's what's necessary or whatever. So it's always listening. It's always checking. Has that person clicked the mouse? Has that person clicked the mouse? Etc., etc. Okay? So download this, play with it, and have fun.